In a cozy corner, sipping tea so bright, with stories of ghosts dancing in the light. We flip through pages of tales so divine, grifters and hunters wrapped up in time. Ed and Lorraine, with their tricks so sly, hunting the night, chasing phantoms high. We giggle at antics so but aside, with every article we shine and ignite. So pour another cup, let's dive back in, with spirits and tales, let the fun begin.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Tea Time Tuesday. I'm sorry again that it's late. And since it's late, I got Dunkin' coffee on my way home from dropping off my work. So today's tea is Dunkin' iced coffee. And I like the caramel iced coffee with cream and stevia. Okay, so I posted about the article I found. I'm very excited about it. There's something in this article that I have yet to find in the paper, other than one other time, and it is Annabelle. I found a newspaper article from the Bridgeport Post, Sunday, October 27th, 1974. There was nothing else up until this point. There were no more articles, just advertisements announcing their lectures and such. So this is the first article all year since April. So there was nothing else since the last article I read last week. And now, of course, we're in October, which is when we see a lot of articles about the Warrens pop up. So this one is a whole page of things. I'll put it up here for you to see. Unfortunately, it is very hard to see. It's old. The scanning of it did not transfer well, and it's very dark. So I will describe each photo on it. I'll zoom in and put them up here as I describe them so you can see it the best that you can. But this is basically a whole party hosted by Ed and Lorraine, and it says, "Witches, psychics, cavort at a spirited party." And then there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 photos on this page. And there's a tiny little article, looks like right here in the middle. This one's by Berta Nelson. And it says, "Picture a room alive with talk of haunting spirits, while in one corner a high priestess of the covenant of witchcraft holds forth on her beliefs, and in another a group of banjo and guitar pickers renders a loud version of Down by the Riverside." It was a Halloween party given by ghost hunters Edward and Lorraine Warren of Linley Street, Monroe, featuring a house full of guests interested in the occult, from dabblers to a full-fledged college teacher and earnest practitioners. The celebration also marked the planned development of a Movie of the Week TV series to be based on the Warrens' experiences and research in the occult. The production has been proposed by the Charles A. Moses Company, a public relations firm in New York City. I have never heard of this. I know it's been mentioned a couple times, and I was wondering if it was supposed to be their broadcast show that they did, The Secrets of Supernatural. I'm going to need to look this up and see what this is about. See if I can find it anywhere. If I can find it, I'll share it. But yeah, I'll have to look that up and get back to you guys. And it continues. Tentatively called Ghost Hunters, the series would be... Oh, well, here's the name of the show. It's called Ghost Hunters. The series would be a sort of Mr. and Mrs. North of the psychic world. Major actors would play the roles of the Warrens, who would act as consultants. So it's not even the Warrens in it, it's just about them. I've never heard of this. This is really kind of cool. Okay. The guests arrived amid blasts of eerie music in costumes ranging from the whimsical to the deadly serious. There were several Raggedy Ann dolls representing a well-publicized doll believed to be possessed of the spirit of a 7-year-old girl, and there were 3 bona fide witches appropriately dressed but unable to ride a broom. This is wild. This is so wild. So they're saying that by this point, Annabelle was famous and that there were people dressing up as her for Halloween. I find this so interesting. Okay, so it continues. Count Dracula appeared out of the night in the form of Jerry Sawyer of Fairfield, who told the group that sorry guys, I can't really read it because it's not printed well. I think it says lineal, if that's a word, descendant of the Count still lives in Istanbul, happily running a blood bank. What? Let me read that paragraph one more time. Count Dracula appeared out of the night in the form of Jerry Sawyer of Fairfield, who told the group that a lineal descendant of the Count still lives in Istanbul, happily running a blood bank. That's very funny. But beyond the chatter concerning unseen forces of good and evil, there was nothing unearthly about the way everyone lined up before the brimming bowls of salads and hot dishes offered to satisfy human hunger. I do believe that's the end of the article, but there are the pictures. Like I said, there's 7 photos here. So this is just like a highlight of the Warrens party. Okay, so we're going to start with the very top left photo, which I'm sure you can see. Maybe you can't, but if you can, I'm going to zoom in. But this is a photo of someone dressed up as Raggedy Ann, wearing a Raggedy Ann charm necklace of some sort, or a pin, I'm not really sure, kneeling next to, I'm pretty sure, the Raggedy Ann, our Raggedy Ann, Annabelle. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I'm going to read the caption of this photo. Haunted doll. Nikki Keene of Monroe respects but doesn't dare touch a Raggedy Ann doll which is believed to be possessed with the spirit of a 7-year-old girl. It is said things happen in the presence of this doll. Objects levitate or even disappear. So, as you can see, this woman is damn near sitting in Annabelle's lap. She's not in a case. She's just out like a normal doll or Halloween decoration. This is insane to me to know that the Warrens got to the point where they were so sincerely fearful, quote unquote, of Annabelle. But in this photo in 1974, they're having a Halloween party and Annabelle is essentially a photo prop for something. This is amazing. So I do believe this is the first photo that I found anyway of Annabelle. And the fact that she's so well known, according to this article, already that people are dressing up like her for Halloween, I really want to find more, if I can, just any more record in magazines or newspapers. There's got to be something. I mean, I have the article that Jill Amadio wrote, which reminds me, my Annabelle Part 2 that is on podcast platforms will be on YouTube this week. I am getting it done this week. I am revising and editing a little bit to be video format, and then I will have it out. And when it is out, I will link it at the end of this video so you can access it easily. But seriously, this is kind of blowing my mind. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next picture, the top right. It is a photo of Ed and Lorraine. I believe it's Ed and Lorraine. It's very hard to see the woman's face, but it's Ed. That looks like Ed to me. So I'm pretty sure this is Ed and Lorraine. And they're standing like on a balcony. And it's lined with carved jack-o'-lanterns, which I love. This is amazing. If I lived in this town, I would definitely have been at this party. This is so cool. So Ed is dressed up, but I'm not sure of what. We'll find out maybe in the captions, I hope. And Lorraine is also dressed up. She's got some sort of bonnet on her head. So this picture says, which jack-o'-lantern is spookiest? Ed and Lorraine Warren take a vote on the scariest of or funniest pumpkin. So they had a jack-o'-lantern carving contest. I love that. That is so much fun. They seem like they were so much fun. Like, aside from everything we know now, it seemed like people really loved them. This kind of thing, I mean, had a great turnout. There's so many pictures. It's in the paper. It's kind of wild to me. Okay, the next photo is the 3 witches, I believe. It says Witches Brew. A trio of witches from Phoenix Coven in Bridgeport mixes a love potion. They are from left to right: Robert Saunders, High Priest of the Coven; Zia Rose, High Priestess; and Linda Diaz, Handmaiden. Handmaiden, that's interesting. I wonder what a handmaiden's responsibilities are in a coven. I don't know these terms or rules and things. I would love to look this up. Anyways, the three are not in costume. They are wearing their usual witches' garb. These are the witches' high holy days, the week of Halloween. So, they look like they're in costume to me, to be honest. One of them has, okay, maybe that's not a crown, maybe it's a hat. I'm not sure. They're wearing hats. They're wearing robes. Yeah. That, especially in 1974, they were not wearing this daily. Anyways, I'm sorry I have an itchy nose. I'm still dealing with some sort of allergy or something. I don't know. I'm scratchy. I'm itchy. Forgive me for scratching my nose. Okay, the next picture to the right of that is I'm not really sure. It's really hard to make out. It says a pair of vampires. Count Dracula, Jerry Sawyer of Fairfield, swishes his cape to attract a vampire, Mirella Lara of Trumbull. Mr. Sawyer is the author of a book about the Warrens. Oh, I feel really dumb. This book cannot. My brain will not register this book. It will not remember it. It will not understand it as a thing. I don't even remember if I read it or not. I can't remember the book. So I guess I need to read it and read it a few times or listen to it and get it stuck back in my head, because I didn't even recognize that Jerry Sawyer was the author. So it says, Mr. Sawyer is the author of a book about the Warrens, Deliver Us from Evil, which I mentioned last week. I put the picture up because I wasn't sure when their first book came out. And I'm pretty sure it was 1973 when their first book came out. And Miss Lara is a student of the occult. So that is very interesting. Also, Lara is the name of one of the nurses in the republication of the Annabelle story in The Demonologist. I just put that together. That's really interesting. Okay, next picture. Bottom left corner. Can't really tell who or what it is again, but it says The Exorcist. Father Bill, the Reverend William Charbonneau of St. John of the Cross Church in Middlebury, a student of demonology, tells Mary Pasquarella, oh, that's who's in the picture, tells Mary Pasquarella, a Bridgeport medium, that all Catholic priests are exorcists. That's a quote. Miss Pasquarella, who was dressed as Ed Warren's genie, teaches a course in ESP at Housatonic Community College, or Housatonic. Housatonic or Housatonic? I don't know how to say that. I never looked it up. I'm sorry. But yeah, Ed's genie. I wonder. I have no idea what they went as. I hope there is a final photo, I think, that might tell us, maybe. I hope. Okay, so we have two photos left. The middle photo on the bottom is of these three people holding a skull. And it says, free from haunts now. George and Nancy Freelander and their daughter Mara can smile at a skull now that they've moved out of their haunted house in Newtown. The Monroe friends of the library once met there to discuss the occult. The Freelanders now live in Madison. This is also confusing. Are they saying... I don't know what they're saying. Are they saying they were living in a haunted house and now they're not anymore? And the skull had something to... Was the skull an item that the Warrens took to the museum for safekeeping? I have no idea. I wish I had more information on these stories. This is really neat. Okay, one more photo. All right, I'm pretty sure this is Ed and Lorraine. This is the final photo. And it says, Ghostly Conference. Against the background of a tree of ghosts, Lorraine and Ed Warren left couple discuss their planned pilot film on ghost hunting with their producer Charles A. Moses, head of a New York public relations firm by that name, and his associate Linda Anderson. This is very interesting. So, this is all before Amityville, and a lot of people say that the Warrens got their fame from Amityville. they were really working hard to be famous by that point. So maybe it did. Maybe it did push them to that point. Anyways, I love this. This is so fun. I do have one more article to read you. It is a little short and sweet article I found. It is in the Journal of Meriden, Connecticut, Monday, November 25th, 1974. This is the next article after the Halloween party. And it says, Case Too Hot for Firemen. I just love the title so much. Bridgeport. Dinner plates started rattling, pictures were jumping off the wall, a TV fell over, and a big heavy leather chair jumped at least 6 inches off the floor. Is this the Goodins? Is this the first story we're seeing about the Goodins? This is so exciting. I'm so excited. Okay. So, local fire chief John Gleason described mysterious movements his men observed at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Gerard Goodin Sunday morning. Oh my goodness. Quote, "We're not very good at chasing devils," said Gleason, noting that his men notified department chaplain Reverend Edward Doyle after they determined that the 4-room structure's foundation was secure. The house is located at 966 Linley Street. They spelled Linley Street wrong. That's really interesting. In a north central residential section of this city of about 155,000 persons. The Goodins lived there with their 10-year-old daughter. Police said that they were called to the house about 10 a.m. when Mrs. Goodin reported that a kitchen table had flipped over. Police said shortly after arriving, they asked for fire department assistance. Gleason said that there was no immediate explanation of the disturbance, which continued periodically throughout the day. During the day, as police stood by, about 1,500 persons gathered in the streets outside the Goodin home. Officials said extra police were called to control the crowd. A spokesman at nearby St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Church, where Father Doyle resides and the Goodins are perished, said, quote, "We're waiting to see that every human angle has been checked out on this before looking at it as a supernatural force. The pastor has talked to the bishop, and that's the church's official position." End quote. Meanwhile, psychic examiner Edward Warren of Monroe visited the house but was unable to give any explanation for the strange movements. And that's the end of the article. That is it. That is, I do believe, it's the first one I found after the Halloween party. We know from the Linley Street story that the activity started November 21st, and they called the police on the 24th. This is from the 25th. The very next day. They work really quickly. The fact that it mentions Ed makes me wonder if he's the one who contacted the news to tell them about it. But then again, there were so many people that came that on that day, like the police and the fire department, maybe one of them contacted it. But if I had to bet on it, I would bet that it was Ed. But I'm so excited that this is our introduction to the Linley Street story via the newspaper. So this is really cool. Sorry again that tea time was late, but hopefully this made up for it. And I will put Annabelle, my Annabelle part 2 up here as soon as it's done. It will be done this week and in video format for YouTube. It is on podcast platforms if you would like to go listen. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.